Hi, friends. Welcome to Paula's Pearls, and this is interview 4, the aftermath of losing my twin sister. What happened in my life after losing my twin sister. And to help me out here today is my friend Alexis. Thank you,
Hi.
Alexis.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So,
So I get to ask some questions about the aftermath, which was very difficult. And so I'll just ask some questions and I'll let Paula do all the storytelling. So, Paula, what did what did you do to honor Pam? I mean,
well, I was just so full of pain the first few weeks after she died. And like I said, I had to, in an earlier interview, I had to uh, go through her things pretty much a week after she died because her husband wanted to move out and he just had to get away. So I wasn't ready and I had to do that, and it was just overwhelming for me. And meanwhile, I had to look after him because he was in such mourning and in such bad shape that I had to find a way for me to grieve. Meanwhile, I was still taking care of my boys, and I was married, and I had to do something for me. You know what I mean? I had to do something. And so I decided to get a journal. I call it my Pam journal, and the first entry I made was 8 weeks after she died, and not even quite 8 weeks. And I mean, I can't even bear to look at it now. I started to look at it earlier today, and I can't even bear to look at it because it's just
so fresh from
so,
that.
yeah, the pain was just so. Oh, I go back there and it just brings me to such a very, very bad place. But I just didn't want to. I wanted to acknowledge that how kind people were after she passed. I mean, all the wonderful stories I got about my sister and gifts and like 2 days when I came after I came home, there was these doggy tags
What do they say?
with a picture
What
of my
did the,
sister and I, and it says
oh,
my womb mate, my family, and the other one says my partner, my best friend, and there's pictures of the two of us on there, and I
oh,
just
beautiful.
yeah, and it's just the last picture I've ever taken is on there.
Oh, the
Yeah, and then
uh,
another one of us on stage, and just a lot of you got me this blue butterfly,
yeah, yeah.
and I wear this ring. This is her ring, and I wear this all the time. And this was a ring she wore all the time. And I was with her when she got it. We were in New Mexico. We went to this little shop, and she picked it up because it had two little flowers, like the two
They're
of us together.
identical.
Yeah, the two of us together. And so this is a precious, precious ring to me, and I never take it off.
Didn't you have that necklace? Was it that other necklace?
This was my sister's necklace. I lost mine, but I have hers.
Right. You wear it all the time. I
I wear
always
it a
see
lot.
what. Yeah, you
I
wear
wear
it
it
a
a
lot.
lot. I wear it a lot, and
That's so
I just
beautiful. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I was wondering about signs. You know how we look for signs.
um I after she died at first I mentioned before, I felt her on my head and I'd feel this warm chill in my body, and I had a few dreams about her, one in which I ran up to her. She looked beautiful, and I ran up to her and I said, "Oh, you're dead."
Oh,
And that was like a weird dream. But the best dream I had was when she peeked her head around the corner and said, "I'm still here." And
wow.
that just made me really happy when I woke up. And
Confirmation that she's not. She's still around somewhere with
yeah,
you.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, then you look into these people who go into these near death experiences and they leave their bodies and they say this life seemed like a dream and they don't even want to come back. So part
Right.
of me wonders, am I imagining these signs, or does she? I'd like to think that she's still there, or is she busy in the other realm? And this
Right.
life was but a dream to her. Do you know
Well,
what I mean? Like
well, it makes
people
you think.
people who have these out of body experiences, these near death experiences, people who've actually clinically been dead. It's interesting. You should look them up on YouTube. Oftentimes they say it's it's like this life is a dream and you're back home. You're back with all the beings you've always known, and the life fades away. There was even a mother on there who had two small children, and she said she didn't want to go back. She had to come back, but she didn't want to come back. She was felt like she was home, and she was so happy there
Wow.
in the
That's
heaven and
certainly thought
the realm.
provoking, huh?
Yeah, it really really is. But when I came back, I was just so full of pain. I remember every night I would light a fire. I had a fireplace in my room, and I would light a fire every night just so I could have her. And it's funny, I used to be really scared of the dark because I was always afraid of spirits and, weird,
Yeah.
the boogeyman, whatever you want to say. But after that, I wasn't scared anymore because I felt her. So no, I got to tell you this. The second night after I was home, after Pam passed, the room, I was lying in my bed and the room became full of this energy, like all around me, and I could feel her, and it was everywhere, and it was all around me. And then shortly thereafter, I had a Reiki session, and I was lying on the table, and this gentleman who gave me the session had been working on my head, and then he was moving down my body, working in my feet. I don't know if you ever had a Reiki session, but
No.
they're actually really cool. They just lightly, barely even touch you, and it's energy healing. And while he was down on my feet, all of a sudden, my heart was really warm. I mean, really, really warm. My head was really warm. And Pam and I were there, and we were like dancing in the universe. It was the strangest thing. And
Oh my gosh.
after the session, he said to me, there was this huge presence behind you. And he goes, you had this light coming from your heart.
Wow.
And
I
it freaked
didn't
him
know
out.
that.
Yeah, and it freaked him out. And, and I'm like, yeah, that was my sister. So I believe, I know she was there in the beginning with me, but I wonder, like, is she just off doing her thing now? And, sometimes I think I feel her. I guess I feel her, and it seems I've had confirmation, but, maybe it's just that cynical part of me that still is like, maybe I was just imagining it, or, you know what I mean? You wonder, maybe she could be visiting me from time to time, checking in on me.
Well, we'll know one day for sure.
Yeah,
I guess
I'll know one
when
day
you see her again.
I'll be, it's the first thing I'll be thinking about.
Yeah.
So my boys, after she passed, they were extremely upset because she was like their second mother.
Right.
And, she would like go pick them up, and if they're mad at me, they would call her, come get me to you, which they called her. And she would get them and take them out and spoil them rotten, feed them all
Of
kinds
course.
of food. I didn't want her to feed them, but, like I said, my sister and I would take them on holidays together, just the two of us and the boys. And they loved her, and they were very sad. As a matter of fact, they still, to this day,
They're
talk
still
about her.
unsure.
And my one son still cries about missing her and wishing that she were there to talk to, because he would call her when,
And
he needed someone aside for me to talk to.
and her husband.
Well, I was friends with her husband for a while. He needed me, and I would have him here. I'd spend the first Christmas here with us. I had him stay a couple days, and Thanksgiving, and I would watch his two dogs. Which, funny enough, my sister got two dogs, and her husband often wondered about this. She got two dogs, like my dog Artie. She loved my little dog Artie so much she ended up getting two of her own. And her husband Andrew always thought maybe she got these dogs because she knew something was going to happen to her, and he knew that I would need to have these dogs because he fell in love with the dogs, and the dogs were his whole world. They still are.
Yeah.
And so he had to leave town like a week and a half after she died, and I, of course, had to take care of her dogs, which I did quite often. And I see pictures of myself back then, and I look like a ghost. I mean, I look horrible. And I remember her what did we have? I'm starting to get teary-eyed about it. We had her memorial service, and we had it at a beautiful church.
Yes.
Remember, I had a guy with the bowls, the singing bowls, start off the service. And I, believe it or not, I got up and did a eulogy, and
Yes.
you did, Mindy did, our best
Right.
friend. My boys, which they did an amazing job.
They certainly did.
And all the guys from Gypsy Queen came, and I was so happy, and a couple of them stayed with me for a week. And I remember when they left, I cried, and I was chasing them. I just felt like a whole era, part of my life was gone. And so I kind of plodded through life. Like I said, I had to teach her yoga classes about probably 6 weeks after she died. The woman who was subbing for the two of us, had an emergency with her son, so I had to go teach Pam's class. It was so odd for me to go there and teach, knowing my sister had just taught there not long ago. And like I said, I cried for the first 10 times of teaching her class.
You did well.
And I got through it, and that's what got me through. When you're servicing other people, really that is a key to wellness and happiness is serving other people and making them happy. That's really the truth.
Which is what she did more than anything.
Yeah,
She really did.
yeah.
And so you stepped in, and it actually, you had told me that it made you a more compassionate person.
It did. When you go through such a profound loss, like losing an identical twin, it's you do become more compassionate and you do become more loving. And I always thought of myself as spiritual beforehand, but I really wasn't. Not like I thought I was. And of course, I'm not fully spiritual as I would like to be. You know,
Yeah,
it's
but since
emerging, it's
this,
coming.
Yeah.
But I really did get a lot more compassionate and empathetic towards others. I never really understood a profound loss. You know, people tell me, oh, I lost a sibling or something. I'd always feel bad, but I never understood the depth of the pain and the feelings until it happens to you, you know, and then you finally get it. And then, you know, so I plodded along, and, you know, luckily I had some wonderful friends to turn to, and I had my yoga, and I was still singing
Oh, and speaking of
without
which,
my sister, you know,
Right.
in our band, which was really odd. I'll never forget the first rehearsal without her. It was like couple months after she died. We had a gig in December, a Christmas gig, and a show that we did every year. And I cried during rehearsal. There's some songs I couldn't do, and everyone was cool. You know, they understood, but it was just extremely difficult to do that.
well,
just-
and but you still stood up, and then there was a record.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened was 2 years to the date after my sister died, I had found out some. I don't even want to. It's very personal, but I had found out some. Let's put it this way: my marriage ended, and
Right.
on that day, and I was just. It was a long-term marriage. It was 24 years. We'd been married a
Sure.
long, long time, and I was so hurt. The pain was so deep because you know I still had the pain. It was still so fresh with my sister, and then the pain of my marriage. It just was so deep. And I had just come out of having also thyroid cancer,
It was everything.
which
came
was
at
which
once.
was not that big of a deal. You know, I got through it. You know, I took the radiation, and then that didn't work. So, but I'm kind of hairless now. I don't have any hair in my arms or anywhere else, but
I still got all that.
I still got the head of hair. But you know, so I you know, I'd gone through a lot, and then you know, the end of my marriage was just more than I could take. I was just in so much pain. I was just such in misery that I had to do something. So the first song we ever recorded, I went to go see. I went to go do a gig with Gypsy Queen. We did a reunion show, and this was my first without Pam, of course. And while we were there, it was decided that we should do a song about Pam. Everybody in Gypsy Queen do a song about Pam. So that's what we did. It was called Pam's Song, and that was the first song that we did, and it kind of started things up again. And then you know, that was actually right before everything broke up with my marriage, like a month before everything broke up with my marriage. And so the pain was so deep that I had to get it out. I just had to write. I had to get it out. So Scotty, my beloved partner and the last guitar player in Gypsy Queen, who was the one my sister and I picked to be in our band that we travel the world with and everything, he came to L.A., and I'm not kidding. We wrote 25 songs in like 2.5 days.
Effortless, right?
It was just pouring out. I don't even know if I picked the right songs for the record. I don't even know because it was just pouring out, pouring out. I had
I
so
think
much.
you did.
I had so much
I've
to
heard the songs.
spew, and I had songs to write about my sister. I had songs to write about my marriage. I had songs to write about the spiritual awakening I was experiencing, and the pain is so much to get rid of. And so a month later, we actually went to the studio and started recording, and we actually did the recording very quickly. You know, looking back at it now, I wish I would have spent more time in the actual recording process of it, but it's okay. You know,
Listen,
it's-
they came out beautifully and well, and a story evolved.
yeah.
From
So
all
we
of it,
put out another Gypsy Queen record,
just like that.
and it was dedicated to my sister. And you can still get it on iTunes and Amazon.
Right,
And stuff.
right. And you know,
We're actually doing a new one right now. You know, but it would have been out already. But the
and you
COVID
have all
thing.
the videos too, as well.
Yeah, we're still
So-
making videos and stuff. But it was just, I needed to do that. I needed to get that pain out of me. I just needed to spew. And it was like, what better way than with your music?
Well, that's what artists do, though.
Yeah.
That's where it all comes from. There's pain. Most
Yeah.
of it comes from pain. And boy,
Yeah.
did she have the pain. And you're still going through it now. I mean, it doesn't like go away. It's not
No,
like
it doesn't go away. It just gets easier to cope.
Right. You
I
learn to
guess
live
it's-
differently,
you
right?
learn to live. Yeah, you learn to live differently, and you just learn to cope. And I guess that's the best way I can put it. You learn to cope. And I just, like today, I was doing some yoga in my den this morning. And when I was in Shavasana at the end of my session, I just was praying, and I was thanking God for everything that I have. And I said, thank you for allowing me to have, I'm going to start crying, that special relationship I have with my sister. And to thank you. And yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. We did want to talk about Pam's song that you're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the end of this video, the link on the end of this video, Pam's song. And it was the first song that emerged from Gypsy Queen in years, and it was a song about her.
Yeah.
And
You know, you have so much that you went through, not just this. I mean, there's so many. I mean, and it's been a few years now. How many years has it been?
it's been over 5.5 years, and I still can't believe it. It just really seems like not that long ago. And her memories will come up and stuff on Facebook, things she said to me. You know, she was probably my biggest supporter and my biggest fan. And you know what? I always thought she was the best.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We always thought each other were the best. And now she's kind of symbolized with a blue butterfly. And I did want to talk about her ashes.
Sorry.
I have her ashes in an urn, a really beautiful urn, and it's big enough to put my ashes in also. So one day the two of us will be together in this urn. But I've taken out some of her ashes, and I take them with me all over the world. Everywhere I've been, I leave ashes.
Yes.
And I got a little funny story to tell, so we leave this on a good note. Mm-hmm. My son and I were on a boat going from England to France, and I had some of her ashes that I forgot to leave them off at the port in England. So I said, "Oh, Zach, quick, we got to dump off the ashes." So there I was on the side of the boat, the little ship, dumping off the ashes, and they flew in a guy's face. Zach and I
gosh.
ran off like two school children. We didn't know what to do, and I was mortified. I mean, I didn't want to even tell him, "Look, there's somebody's ashes."
Oh my gosh.
I mean, because I didn't want to freak him out. Can you imagine? But
Well, you know what? He got a blessing. He just doesn't know it.
she's the most special person in the world, and
Yes.
to me. And so I still keep,
And there's
her
a
ashes with
stone.
me.
There's a stone that you go to.
A memorial stone that it was really important to me, and some of her ashes are buried under there. It's a memorial stone in the church where we had her service, and we go there every so often, except her husband kind of messed up the stone.
Right.
He didn't mean to, but on her birthday, I guess 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, he had lit some candles and a cake, and we left the plastic on it and flowers with the plastic all on them, and the candles melted. And I'm not kidding you, plastic and crap, hard plastic melted everywhere in the stone. And I tried scraping it off. I had my friend Sandy scrape it off, and Terry and you,
Right,
and
right.
we all tried our best to fix it up. But I like to go there and meditate
But
and
that
think
helped
about
you a
her.
lot at the beginning, though.
It did.
Right?
I would go there at like 1 and 2 in the morning. I don't care if it was raining. I would lie on her stone and just cry, or I'd take a candle there. Because probably for the first 6-7 months after she passed, I cried every day, maybe 8 months, every single day, every day. I just didn't know how many tears I had, and I would scream her name. "Where are you?" I was so mad at her.
And again, we still don't understand. I mean, we understand loss. Most everybody in the world understands, but the twin loss, we don't understand.
Well, I would
that.
always
So-
say we were roommates, playmates, bandmates, and soulmates.
Yeah,
Oh, and cellmates too.
twin flames, all those things. You're everything to each other. So, I'm
As kindred as two people could be.
yeah, and I can attest to that for sure. I've never seen anything like it. So, but we're going to have another segment, I'm sure, to talk more about this because there's so much to tell. And
Yeah, there's lots of stories to tell about being a twin. I'd like to talk about maybe some more of the fun stuff about being a twin. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to interview 4. And if there's any other questions you have or you want to know, please feel free to comment and ask me about,
Yeah,
my twin.
and also if you're a twin, and you have certain questions that might, help you if you're going through something like that. For Paula, just happy that I was asked to interview you. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you,
On the show.
Alexis, for interviewing me. I really appreciate it. And light and love to everyone, and especially those who are experiencing a profound loss. You will get through it. You'll find ways to cope. And light and love.